firstly, yeah, it's like who you are, where you're from, where you've been, just how you describe yourself basically as an individual. Yeah.
All right, that's a big question. I'm Fabiënne and I live in the Netherlands. At the moment I live in Amsterdam. I grew up in a small town in the Netherlands with a lot of nature. I've also lived in Tokyo for some time, where I also get a lot of photography inspiration because there's quite a few photographers that inspire me also there. And when I got back in 2020, I actually got inspired a lot and I started taking a lot more photos as well. I've studied history and now I work in a museum, but this is my passion, my side project. I've always liked photography, and when I was young and in my youth, I've taken a lot of photos on my disposable cameras. But now that I have a proper one, I really enjoy taking photos, like just ordinary photos, and not a lot of people, but more scenery, architecture, cityscapes. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so I've always really liked it and I've always appreciated other photographers as well. And at first I didn't know a lot about the techniques, but once I bought my fully manual camera, I was forced to study it, watched a lot of YouTube videos on f-stops and all that stuff. But yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. Of course I failed quite a few times. I've also had that I've opened my camera, thought I took so many nice photos and the roll didn't pick up. I've had that a lot. But yeah, slowly I think I also started to maybe develop my own signature a little bit. I'm not there yet, but that is something that I would love to have. So what I really like is light and shadows. Especially in the city, like through buildings, when there is a light shining through and then you see it on the street, you see the reflections. That is something I am most intrigued by. I want to shoot. It is things that are standing still most of the times. I like to take my time and stand still and shoot something if I see something that inspires me. Yeah, I like architecture as well. So buildings, and the contrast of the sky in the back and buildings on the front. We have that a lot in Amsterdam as well. Some very old buildings. I'm a history nerd, so that's something I really appreciate. The outside of museums, some funky architecture is something that I really enjoy, but also moments that when you walk down the street, you're like, whoa, I've never realized that this is so beautiful before, like trees, for example. I never knew I would be just taking photographs of trees. But that is something that if you take your time, if you just stand still and look around you, you can capture it, and then maybe the result is much better than you thought it would be. First, I just walked down the street and I was like, yeah, it's a street. If you stand still and you're more often thinking about it, or you have a camera with you, especially a film camera, that you have to think about and consider is this something I want to shoot, because you only have one roll with you, then you have to choose and think. And that's also why I like film photography more than digital, because you have to stand still and consider the light as well, like we talked about, right? It was something difficult at first, a lot of underexposed photos, but I think that's something we all do in the process. So now I think I've got the hang of it. Overexpose it a little bit, and then it's always better. There is a Dutch painter called Gerrit Berckheyde, and he has painted, for example, the city of Haarlem. And he was in the Golden Age. It's a long time ago, but I feel like he inspires me a lot. He also changed the scenery of what he saw. So for example, busy market square, he took out a lot of people. He took out like the dirty stuff, and then he made it a little bit more minimal, straight lines, very picturesque, beautiful colors. And that is something that if I see something like that, like one of his paintings, in a glimpse, I'm like, that is something that I want to capture. So maybe that, and other photographers. That is something that also inspires me, like more experimental things that I sometimes see. I'm like, wow, why not try that as well? Like maybe some different film, or yeah, different angles, something crazy, you know, like that inspires me too. And you don't have to be limited to what you normally do. I like contrasty photos, and I think for me, like Kodak Ultra Max is something that I find myself using a lot because it's trusty, and I think for me, the photos that I take come out best when I use that film. But honestly, I like experimenting. So I really enjoy black and white photography. I've been enjoying that lately. And I've also wanted to, this is one of the things that I've been wanting to try out, the Cinestill. But in Amsterdam, there is not enough opportunity, I feel like, to really make like use of it, like neon signs. And that is what Tokyo, for example, is amazing for. So next time I go, we'll definitely grab some Cinestill and try and shoot some night photography. That's something I want to try out more, actually. So yeah, and maybe more vivid colors. I want to explore maybe some cities with colorful architecture. I don't know if you've heard of Wes Anderson. That is also maybe an inspiration for me, like the symmetry in his images. It doesn't have to be, right? But if I have it, I'm like, oh, this is something I love. And the colors as well. Even though it is a little bit color graded, I normally don't edit my photos, but if I see something that looks Wes Anderson-ish, I love it. There's this Instagram account called Accidentally Wes Anderson, and that also inspires me. It's like very like flat photos, contrasts, different colors that I really like. Another inspiration. Trying to maybe put myself out there more, and actually next week I have a small exhibition in Haarlem coming up, something that I've never done before, but that I would really like to do, and hopefully people enjoy it as well. It is with a lot of other artists as well. That is something that I really like, and I appreciate the opportunity. Besides that, I've wanted to make like a photo series. That is something that I'm aspiring to do. I don't know yet what, but yeah, that also inspires me. Other people's, like in Instagram, the people that we follow, for example, that they have their own photo books, which is so cool, I think. And I also try to support them, and yeah, they inspire me as well. So that is something that I might be working on. I think maybe the best tip that I also received is make mistakes. Learn from them, see what you did wrong, or you have some happy mistakes as well. I've had a lot of times that I've accidentally had some double exposure, and those ended up being quite nice, I think, but it wasn't my purpose. So that is great, I think. Don't be too specific on what you want to shoot, just shoot and then see what it looks like and learn from it as well, see the difference in your photos, and yeah, just enjoy it, I think. At the moment, I just have an Instagram. It's daydreaming _film, because it's me just dreaming and capturing that. So that's me, yeah.